This is my burned BMW 335i. I bought this car 6 months ago, and when I bought it, it looked like this.
This BMW 335i was involved in an insurance scam. The engine blew up and then it was put on fire. But that did not stop us from fixing it. So in 9 episodes we rebuilt the body and rebuilt the engine. And now it's time to restore this N54 powered beast to its former glory.
So in the span of 6 months, we rebuilt the car completely. We have rebuilt the whole rear end, and we also have rebuilt the engine. There is still a lot of things that needs to be done to the car, including some mechanical bits, but if you guys have followed the series, most importantly, in my opinion, the paint. Because this car is meant to look good. Right now, well, it does when it's wet, as it is now since it started raining. So hopefully, today we'll make this car look good again. When the car is wet, as it is right now, the paint job looks decent. Most of the panels need repainting. Quarter panel on the both sides, the roof, there is some marks. Fender, there's a massive piece missing here because I was backing up and I kind of hit the bumper and it pulled it back a bit, so it broke the bracket. Also the side skirt on the other side, the hood, and maybe the doors, because then it's not gonna match. I don't know. First thing we need to do, we need to see which panels are okay. So we need to check the trunk and the front and the rear bumper if we need to repaint them, because we did repaint them previously. So we need to see if we can repair a few runs that we have, and also the orange peel on the trunk. So now, as we saw, I sanded the rear trunk because there was orange peel on it. Not so much on this side of the trunk, pretty perfect. But at the top, there was for some reason a bunch of orange peel. I sanded all of it quickly. Well, not really quickly because it takes time. It's supposed to look like this everywhere after you sand it. Here, technically, we need more sanding, but I don't want to spend the time on it right now. Massive run here that I repaired. So this, I think, is gonna come out good. I have a paint thickness checker like this. Now we can see that on the panels that we repainted, 0.25, 0.30, original panel 0.2, 0.2, and there was some spot 0.15. When I'm sanding a repainted panel, I like to check before and after, just so it don't go through the clear coat. 135 here even. 0.2, yeah. I could sand this probably a bit more. Maybe we're gonna do it in the future, but for now we know that this panel is good. We can polish it out. The front bumper, I am checking if I can save it or not. There was massive runs here that I scraped away. To scrape away, you could use a simple razor blade. Another thing I like is this thing. AliExpress strikes again, as always. This is what people call a shark blade. Basically just a square piece of steel, and you take it and you use it to scrape away as we did. I like this so much better than a normal razor blade. So if you're doing this job, try it out. It really makes the job easier a lot. I did the same thing here. Now I would sand both of these spots with 1000, 1500 and maybe 2500. Then I would maybe use a rotary with cutting compound and DA to buff it out. Then it would look perfect. The same with the trunk. Now I think I will start removing this whole side skirt. There's a massive piece missing here, so we will try to repair that because I don't want to get another one. We need to also remove the fender because we need to repair this little hole. Before we remove it, I think I'm gonna run over it all with 800 rotary sander, just since when it's stable on the car it's easier to sand. Then I need to also repair this little rust here. The hood from the outside is not bad. A little bit of action going on down here, but we can reuse this hood. So for now it seems that the front bumper and rear trunk we can keep. The rear bumper, I don't know. But yeah, I will start with removing the side skirt, fender, and taking some things apart. Now I am using a block and blocking this curve exactly where we had a bunch of runs, because it was super hard. There was a bunch of runs everywhere and it was so uneven. So now I'm just using a block with actually 180 grit, very rough, and I'm just going like that front and back. There's still a few curves. Up here, nothing, because there was no runs on the upper side. Down, still slightly, so I'm gonna go more with the 180 grit, then we're gonna go over to a higher number, maybe like 400 or 320. Then we will go to orbital. But now we'll actually remove the taillights and then sand over to the edges. Annoying dent over here, which is super annoying. Most of it is anyway covered up by the weather stripping, which I cut off. So we will need to replace that, as well as we will replace the windshield, because you see that's cracked here. Because I need this car perfect. And before you use Bondo, we'll need to repair the side skirt here. You can see there's a little piece missing, and here as well. So then we will weld in some plastic in the gaps, in the missing pieces, and then use Bondo and make it perfectly smooth. Here I removed the fender, and you can see the massive piece missing here. I do have the piece, so I will put it in place, and then from the back I will use this plastic welder, and I'm gonna melt in these staples, which is gonna hold the piece from different sides. And then I'm gonna just melt some more plastic on top of it so it's more sturdy. And I'm gonna do something here as well. I need to weld some plastic on top of here. We're missing all this thing here. However, this is supposed to end here, so we just need to fill out all this gap and keep this piece right here. So now I applied body filler to the place that needs it. So a few dents here, a few dents on this door, and a few on the roof actually. One here, and one annoying one in the front there. I also sanded down the fender. You can see it's coming out pretty good. And the skirt, that's also coming out pretty good. It is different filler what you use for metal bodywork and for plastic. For metal you have universal filler, and for plastic I use this bumper fix body for plastics. So now I masked everything up for primer. As we saw in the last video, the primer gun that we used was bad. It was like spitting. This gun has 1.4 millimeter nozzle, and that is too small for primer. So I picked up this one from the heart of China, paint gun for $20. Feels decent, I guess. Now this gun has 1.5 millimeter nozzle. For base coat and clear coat, the rule is 1.3 is like the middle, perfect size. For primer, primer is very thick, and if you want to put thick coats of it so you can sand it, you need a bigger nozzle. We use 1.4, that's way too small, it ends up like spitting. This is 1.5. So today we're gonna test out if me, as of someone who doesn't know what they're doing, can put down nice coats of primer using a cheap gun. On the gun for the base coat and clear coat, I have a adjuster here where you can see the pressure. I'm not gonna put one on this one, there is just no point. I'm just gonna use the adjuster on the compressor. Not as precise since there is some pressure lost in the hose, but not a big deal for primer. Primer mixes 4 parts primer and 1 part hardener. And a mistake I did last time, I didn't put thinner, so it needs to be thinner, around 20%. Let's test how it sprays. My dumbass got a run-on primer, the freak! How did I manage to do that? But the rest, pretty okay. The hood, I tried to spray half of it first, but it was covering pretty bad. This came out pretty nice. Well, now I hanged everything up. Now the gun, honest water. Even though I have a water collector on the compressor, I put on one more little one on the gun. So now I cleaned the garage up, and here's the paint job. It doesn't look bad, but it's not perfect. The hood as well. You guys probably saw in the intro of this video that the trees are all green. Yeah, because this video up to this point was filmed like 4 or 5 months ago. And why is that, you may ask? The paint job, the parts that we painted, came out not bad. The paint laid out pretty good, and the clear coat laid down pretty good. Not much orange peel. It came out okay. But there was some dust that landed in the paint. And for any other car, it would be fine. I could just pull shit out and it would be barely visible. But for the 335, I want it to be real nice. I want it to be as best as it can be, basically. I did not want to spend any more time with it, trying over and repaint again, because it takes tremendous amount of time and work to prep a car for painting and stuff like that, sanding down. It's insane amount of work, especially if you are a beginner. So, as you guys know, I live in Norway. So then I drove the car down to Lithuania and I left it there to get fully repainted. And that was 2 months ago, maybe even 3. And now the car has been done for over a month, but I just, because of Christmas and stuff like that, I didn't have time to go back and pick the car up. But now it's finally time to pick the car up and finish it once and for all. But there is a fair amount of small things that need to be fixed. But I have gathered most of the parts, so it's just a matter of doing it and bringing the car back here. So tomorrow we are flying back to pick the car up. So I see you guys in the morning. So now we are driving back to Norway with a 335. I have full trunk of things, some things back here. I have a lot of bars for the other projects, stuff like that. We will take the ferry from Klaipeda to Karlshamn. Then we have around 1,000 kilometers to drive back. We are in the port right now. The car performing flawlessly. No faults. There's a bunch of cars there. So I'm pretty sure that's like all the Copart cars from the US that come to Lithuania. You can see it here, but there's a bunch of cars. Yep, so now we are back. It's been a few days and I also got windshield replaced because there was a little crack. So it has a new windshield, brand new one, with a new seal. I was gonna film more of the trip, but my phone broke on the ferry. So it's good that this car has the CAC iDrive with the navigation, because if not, I would have been in a bad situation, because I managed to get home that way. So yeah, brand new windshield, engine performing flawlessly. I do need to replace the oil, because we replaced it like 2 or 3 times when we rebuilt the engine. And now we have driven with this oil probably for maybe 8,000, 9,000 kilometers. So this engine in total has driven 10,000 kilometers right now. Well, after the rebuild. Clean container. Ooh, that's hot. Yep, so filter, good. I'm just gonna put the cap on real quick so no dirt falls inside. So now I want to lift the car up, drain the oil, replace that, inspect the engine from under, because I haven't looked at the engine from under in like 10,000 kilometers ever since the rebuild. The whole car is super dirty right now. But you guys remember the seats? The front seats right now are the same ones. They are in okay condition, but the rear seats were very moldy from the water and such. So I did replace them. I found a set of rear seats in Lithuania. I already replaced them when I was there. So we can see it's the same color, everything. Another thing, we can see that the trunk floor is all sealant here because I had to cut it. So I did buy a correct trunk floor. And we also need to fix the connector on the DMTL. The oil is so hot, I feel it. So, I did not film any of this because we have did it multiple times on this channel. So I replaced all of these pipes. They go all the way to the front here to the thing. Now the trunk. Okay. After all the traveling and shipping stuff, all the interior trims got a little bit dirty. And finally the floor. Okay, so the trunk is finished now. Still a bit dirty here, but I just embedded into the material. And the exhaust tips are straight. I think now we can add the oil and start the engine up. Then the new oil filter. So this engine takes 6.5 liters of oil. So here I have some, I bought this time Mobil oil, not sponsored. Just why not? It was a good price. One thing that's been low-key pissing me off since the beginning is the one paddle shifter that is broken. Hey boss.
How are you doing?
Ja, det går bra.
Det går bra?
Ja.
Mario ook het?
No. What's up? Yes. So now there is a Torx bolt here inside. The entire thing comes out. Okay, so I changed this one. I did disconnect the battery as well, by the way. So then you undo the bolt, you remove it, then you put the paddle shift on from the back, line up the screw. Let's see if it works. Yes. Yes. The last thing, at least for now, the last thing, we need to put on a 335i badge. The badge is 22 millimeters from this line, the bottom of it. So from the edge to the eye, from the edge here to the letter I, it's around 217.5 millimeters. So then I just
As you guys know, we did install a original tune into the car when we first got it, because this car did have a stage tune, and we did that by using MHD adapter. So now we'll plug it in. I'll put my phone on charge. So now I will go on to the MHD flasher app and I will turn on the ignition. I am gonna connect the seat belt and I'm gonna close the door lock, just so the car thinks that the door is locked. So first thing, we can read the DME codes to see if the adapter is connected properly. Now, after a while, I managed to connect. The adapter was not plugged in properly. So right now, I already have a tune on this car because I was testing out the platform. I have a super license, so I have access to all the tunes for this engine. I can watch live data, read the codes and stuff like that. There are different licenses, but I recommend getting a super license because then you can do everything you want. And this account is gonna be forever connected to the car. So now you can see you can flash the car back to stock, is what we did previously on this car to get it inspected and legal. But now we can go to the first setting, to the tune setting, and we choose a flash a MHD map. These are all the maps that MHD company has created for this engine. They tested and they perfected the maps, and you can just take it and use it on your car. You can also get your own map, get someone to make it and put it inside the app and then put it in and out when you want. But I'm not sure how that works and stuff like that. So yeah, custom maps and stuff like that, I'm not gonna do that because N54 has very good maps from MHD. So we will press flash and MHD map. Here we can see now there are many different maps: V5, V6, V7, V8, V9, V10. Now I had, I think, V8 map. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what's the difference. They have the minimal adjustments to the maps, because V5 is, well, the oldest one, and then they upgrade, and you can put one, test it, put the other one, test it. So right now we'll go with V9, because why not? I don't know. Because we have downpipes, bigger intercooler, stuff like that, we could technically go with stage 2 plus, but I don't want to push it too much. I'm gonna put stage 2 is what I have right now, but you can choose all the different maps regarding what parts you have on your car. If your car is stock, unmodified, you can go stage 1 and just slightly increase the power. But this car has downpipes, intercooler, we're safe to go stage 2. So I will press on stage 2. Then you can do a right, but what I'm gonna do, we can go on options. Now here you can do all adjustments, such as ethanol. You can adjust the throttle lag so it's more responsive. Then you need to choose what kind of exhaust you have, if you have stock downpipes or aftermarket. Then if you want exhaust burble, well, that's pops and bangs. I don't want that because that's not good for the turbos. I think this car sounds already good. Then some kind of limit, kick down, launch control. Then you choose what kind of pressure sensors you have, ignition coils. These things they have OEM, so I'm just gonna leave it. And also if you have wastegate rattle, you can fix that. But that increases the throttle lag, so I'm not gonna do that. In one of the first pages, when you're choosing the stage, you need to choose what kind of fuel you're gonna run. And that's very different depending if you're in the USA or in the Europe. In Europe, we have better fuel than what you guys have, let's say, in California, I think, something like that. Now they have updated, so you can choose up here. Either it's octane AKI or octane RON, which way where you live the octane is described. Here in Norway, in Europe, it's used by RON, RON. If you're on petrol 95 or 98, you choose that here. So I run on simple 95 because we're not pushing this car crazy. So here, when we go on stage 2, I will put 95 RON, and that should be the correct petrol that I use in this car. And these things, we already went through them. I'm not gonna change anything. I'm gonna leave it how it is. I don't want no exhaust burbles and stuff like that. Then I will do a long ride. What is important now, however, to not disconnect the car, do not open the doors, do not do anything. So now turn off ignition and wait 30 seconds. Looks good. Now we need to test it. This car is driving so good. So fun to drive this car, it's insane. This is by far my favorite car that I have ever had. So fast, it's so fun. In Norway you can't really mess around too much because the police here is crazy. But when you're in other countries, whew. That's insane. So this car does have navigation. However, right now it's kind of glitching in the middle of the sea. This saved me. Otherwise, I'm not sure how I would have gotten home from the ferry. Because my phone just switched off on the ferry and it just bye-bye. Okay, floor it. Oh.
I have been driving this car for a while now. For the most of it, it is performing good, but there's one new problem that has came up. So there is a misfire, and that misfire is on cylinder 6. The cause for the misfire is the injector not sealing. When previously on the channel we rebuilt the engine, I didn't know that the sealing of the injectors is so important on this car, on N54 engines in general. I was used to N43 engines which have the same kind of injectors and they have no problem sealing, but that's because they're naturally aspirated for cylinder engines, so they just don't leak. There's not enough pressure in the combustion chamber. However, these engines here, they have so much boost pressure in the combustion chamber that the injectors need to have new gaskets and new Teflon rings every time you remove them. Now, I did replace the Teflon rings and seals. I did that a while ago, not long after the engine rebuild, because I found it out then and it was performing good. But now it's misfiring on cylinder 6 under high boost. I replaced the seals again because there is one seal on the tip of the injector and then there's one Teflon ring. I replaced both of them multiple times, nothing helps. I tried double stacking the Teflon rings, nothing helps. I'll show you later how that works. What has happened is that the injector being loose has destroyed the housing in the cylinder head where the injector sits. So now the injector is loose and the seal is not sealing. It is somewhat common problem for N54 engines. This mistake was quite a rookie mistake from my side. This probably wouldn't have happened if we replaced the seals from the start off. Now I disconnected the battery, so now let's undo the injector. The way you tell if your injector port is destroyed is you undo this pipe, and while the bracket that holds the injector down is still in place, you take the injector and you shake it back and forth. Right now it's not shaking because I have put 2 decoupler rings, but usually it's gonna shake if you have a worn port. Undo the bracket now. You can tell that the port is worn from how much the injector right now shakes side to side. It shouldn't do that. So now we'll use a little sledgehammer tool to remove the injector. Like that. I am also removing the spark plug because the repair that we will do requires that. That's how the spark plug looks. The way the injector works is you put it in and there's a seal down here. This is the seal that holds the compression in the combustion chamber. And then this is the seal. This is like a compression ring. So when you put it down, it acts like a little cushion and it holds the injector firmly in place. When you don't replace these rings and these gaskets, this doesn't seal that good and this doesn't hold the injector firm. So after a lot of driving, the injector shakes around a lot. When this seal is old, it doesn't hold the combustion in the combustion chamber, and then the compression gets past the seal and basically burns out the housing in the head around it. And because it's soft aluminum, it makes the hole not round and tight anymore, it makes it oval. In the N54 community, they call it the oval port problem or something along those lines. There is a few fixes that people try to do when they get this problem. They try wrapping Teflon tape around here to make the hole tight. So when they put the injector in, it's tight. Some people like to put double Teflon rings here. So I did try it. You just cut off the arms of the upper Teflon ring and you just put it on, and then you basically double stack them. Then there's more clamping force, and the seating surface down here moves up slightly and it helps sometimes, however not in my case. Theoretically, the only way to repair this engine right now would be to replace the head. Now there is one company that has came up with a solution to this problem, and they were the first ones to come up with it. The company name is Plug and Play Integration, in other words PPI, and they are a company in the United States. I reached out to them and they agreed to do a little collaboration on this product. This kit consists of a few different things. Firstly, it's a long drill bit to drill a hole down inside the engine head. Then you have a hose that you connect up into the spark plug hole to blow out the metal shavings with compressed air. And then you tap the hole that you drill using this tap with this guide that you put into the injector port so it's straight. And then there are these sockets slash cylinders that are threaded, and they are the exact diameter as the injector tip. So you basically drill out the hole, tap it with new thread, blow out the shavings, and you install this sleeve, and this restores the diameter of the hole to the factory size. So now you can see it's absolutely perfect diameter. This is the absolute only fix, except for of course replacing the head, for this engine. Okay, so it is not easy to show it. When you do this, you need to make sure that the piston is nowhere near the top of the engine head. Now that's how the hole looks right now. I am gonna drown the drill bit in a bunch of grease, mostly on the tip, just so when I drill, it's gonna pick up most of the shavings. Put this little sleeve on, and this is what's gonna guide me to drill straight down. You can see that the big guide thing fits exactly in the hole. So that is what guides it and makes the hole perfectly straight. I think I went through. Here you can see the shavings. Now I will thread in this hose. So now that's how it looks. A hole just a bit bigger. Here I have the tap covered in grease with the thing on. Drop it in the same way. I like to go a bit front and a bit back. I'm gonna remove it to inspect and clean it. Yeah, that is definitely all the way through. That's not focusing on the hole, but just beautifully threaded hole. I will put it in using this big screwdriver like that. You just screw it in until it's tight and you can't screw it in anymore. Now that is how it looks. Now we'll connect the battery up again and I will start the car up. So if you have a problem like that and you need this kit to fix your car, make sure to check out the Euro Wizards or the Plug and Play Integration, and you will get yourself a kit like this. This is a pricey kit. This costs $500. However, you are paying for the solution, not only the product. Some say it's cheaper to change the head. Maybe it is if you're doing it yourself. However, you don't know the state of the new head. Maybe you will need to do the same thing on a new head. However, in this case, the head is rebuilt, the engine is rebuilt, had it resurfaced. I didn't want to remove the head again, so this kit worked great. I will leave the link in the description to their website. If you need this, they have many different products as well, such as the plugs to delete the direct injection at all if you need to run another intake manifold and use intake injection. And they have turbos, all different stuff, so I will leave the link in the description. I'm not gonna touch other cylinders, they're not leaking, I'm not gonna replace them.
So it's been a while since the last clip, and the car right now is sold. I sold it. I've had so many projects, so I didn't have time to really make this video, but now I have to get it out because now the car is gone. I sold it for 275k, which is like 23,000 euros. That's the normal price of these cars in Norway. How much did it cost me to fix it? It cost me around that to fix it and buy it included, so I made basically no profit on it. But we had a lot of fun with that car and a lot of content. The car was basically performing flawlessly, and now it's off in good hands, basically other side of the country. It's an amazing car, my favorite car that I have had, but don't worry, there's plenty more cars to fix. Now I have a few bigger projects in mind, so thank you for watching this entire Burn 335 series. It was fun and challenging and the craziest car by far. And I hope to see you in the next one.